The 18-month IT development cycle is no longer just a symptom of a slow organization. In the 2026 economy, it has become a massive corporate liability. We are witnessing the collapse of the monolith, that rigid, heavy structure where every piece of business logic is hard-coded into a silo that nobody can touch without a six-figure budget and a year-long roadmap. This creates a mountain of software debt that modern markets simply will not afford. Most organizations are responding to this crisis by hunting for more professional coders. They think the solution is more lines of text, but the top 1%, they are doing something entirely different. They are building citizen architect programs. They realize that the reason digital transformation stalls isn't the technology, it's the governance model. Over the next hour, we're breaking the hard coding trap. I'm going to show you exactly how to design a self-correcting corporate nervous system that moves as fast as your best ideas. The economic collapse of legacy development. We have reached a tipping point where the opportunity cost of waiting for IT has officially surpassed the actual cost of the software itself. Think about that for a second. If you have a business process that is leaking $10,000 a month in efficiency and your IT backlog says they can get to a solution in 14 months, you haven't just lost the development fee. You've lost $140,000 in pure waste while sitting in a queue. This is the economic reality that is killing traditional development from the inside out. In the old model, a standard on a net project, something enterprise grade with a few integrations and a clean UI, starts at roughly $80,000. That is the baseline just to get the lights on. Compare that to a Power Platform solution. We are seeing these same business requirements met for $5,000 in initial implementation. It is a staggering difference. But the real shift isn't just the price tag, it's the location of the logic. When you move business logic to the edge, where the people doing the work actually live, you see a 70% reduction in total development costs. You are no longer paying for a developer to spend 3 weeks trying to understand a department's workflow. The department is simply building the workflow. There is a hidden tax on custom code that most CFOs are finally starting to notice. Every single line of custom code you write today is a future maintenance anchor. It is a piece of technical debt that will eventually slow down your ability to pivot. In 2026, agility is the only currency that matters. If your business logic is buried in 5,000 lines of C# that only one guy named Steve understands, you aren't an agile company. You are a hostage to your own infrastructure. This hard coding trap creates a world where you can't change a discount rule or a shipping workflow without a full regression test and a deployment window. This legacy approach assumes that business requirements stay static long enough for a developer to build them. That assumption is dead. Work doesn't happen in a straight line anymore. It happens in bursts of context. When you hard code your logic, you are essentially freezing your business in time. You are saying, this is how we worked in June, so this is how the software will force us to work forever. The data from Gartner and Forrester is becoming impossible to ignore. Organizations are seeing a 90% reduction in development time when they stop treating every internal tool like it's a mission to Mars. We are talking about compressing months of work into 3 weeks. This isn't just about saving money on salaries. It's about reclaiming the lost time that your competitors are using to move past you. But here is the problem. Moving that fast is incredibly dangerous if you don't have a map. You can't just give everyone a login and hope for the best. That's how you end up with a $500,000 licensing audit or a massive data leak. Speed without structure is just chaos. To survive this economic collapse, the entire definition of the architect has to change. We have to move away from the person who draws diagrams of servers and toward the person who designs the guardrails for human innovation. This leads us directly into the fundamental shift of the decade, the transition from the tactical builder who writes code to the citizen architect who orchestrates systems. From tactical builder to citizen architect, the fundamental unit of value in software development has shifted. For decades, we measured progress by the line of code. We rewarded the tactical builder, the person who could sit in a dark room and translate business needs into thousands of lines of syntax. But in the 2026 landscape, coding is rapidly becoming a lower-level instruction layer. It is becoming the plumbing. And while plumbing is necessary, nobody hires an architect just to talk about the pipes. We are moving into an era where orchestration is where the value lives. This is the rise of the citizen architect. Think about the sheer scale of what is happening. By 2027, the industry is projecting a move from 10 employees supporting a single application to a world where every single employee manages 10 apps. That is a 100-fold increase in the density of business logic. If you try to manage that growth using traditional professional developers, your organization will simply seize up. You cannot hire your way out of this. The math doesn't work. Instead, the top-performing enterprises like Shell and Toyota are treating their business users as logic designers. They aren't asking an HR manager to become a computer scientist. They are asking that HR manager to define the if this then that of their own department. At Toyota, this approach has empowered over 2,000 active developers across the business. They have created more than 4,000 applications that solve real-world problems on the factory floor and in the back office. This isn't shadow IT. This is a deliberate strategic choice to give the people closest to the problem the tools to build the solution. When you do this, you stop being a builder of tools and start being a designer of outcomes. This forces a massive evolution in the role of the professional developer. If you are a senior engineer today, your job is no longer to write lines of text. If you are still focusing on the syntax, you are competing with a commodity that is getting cheaper every day. Your new mandate is to become an orchestrator developer. You are the one who builds the guardrails. You are the one who creates the reusable components and the secure connectors that the rest of the company uses to build their logic safely. Toyota didn't save billions of yen by letting everyone do whatever they wanted. They saved it by having their professional architects build a robust foundation that made it impossible for the citizen developers to fail. They built the Lego bricks of the organization, secure, pre-validated pieces of logic, and then they let the business units snap them together. This is the ultimate leverage. Instead of one developer building one app for 100 people, you have one architect building a framework that allows 100 people to build 100 apps. The value has migrated from the how to the what. The business user knows what needs to happen. They know that when a safety incident occurs, the supervisor needs a notification, the part needs to be flagged in the ERP, and the compliance team needs a report. In the old model, that simple logic got lost in translation during a 6-month dev cycle. In the new model, the business user maps that logic directly into the system. The professional developer then steps in to ensure that the data is encrypted, the API calls are efficient, and the logic scales across 10 different regions. This is the Fusion team in action. It's a partnership where the business provides the context and the architect provides the structural integrity. We are seeing this model produce results that were previously impossible. Shell saved over $35 million in a single year by embracing this shift. They didn't do it by firing their developers, they did it by magnifying their developers' impact. But once you have these architects in place, you face a new challenge. You have a massive engine of innovation running at full speed. How do you ensure it doesn't break under the weight of its own success? You need a system that can handle the sprawl without killing the momentum. That requires a shift in governance, moving away from a no culture to a zoned strategy. The governance zoned strategy. The greatest fear in every IT department is the Wild West scenario. They imagine thousands of unmanaged apps accessing sensitive databases, creating a tangled web of shadow IT that eventually leads to a catastrophic security breach. This fear is why most organizations default to a restrictive governance model. They try to police innovation by putting up massive roadblocks. But here's the reality. In 2026, blanket restrictions don't actually stop people from building things. They just force people to build things in the dark. When you make it too hard for a manager to automate a spreadsheet using official tools, they don't give up. They go out and buy a third-party SaaS subscription with a corporate credit card. They bypass your security entirely. This is how you end up with those $500,000 audit surprises. You think you're being safe by saying no, but you are actually increasing your risk profile by losing visibility. To break this cycle, we have to move from a model of policing to a model of nurturing. We do this through a zoned governance strategy. This starts with the Center of Excellence, or the COE. In the new enterprise standard, the COE isn't a board of sensors, it's a maturity engine. Its job is to move the organization through stages of capability, providing more freedom as the builders demonstrate more skill. We implement this through environmental zoning. Think of it as a city planning map for your digital logic. First, you have the green zone. This is the default environment for personal productivity. In this zone, the guardrails are tight on data but loose on creativity. A user can automate their own inbox or build an app to track their team's lunch orders. The data loss prevention policies here are strict. They block any connector that could leak internal info to the public web. It is a safe sandbox where people can learn without the risk of breaking the company. This is where you foster the citizen part of the architect role. Then you have the yellow zone. This is for departmental solutions. Once an app proves its value in the green zone and starts being used by 50 or 100 people, it gets promoted. This promotion requires a review. The COE looks at the logic, checks the data sources, and ensures there is an ownership transfer plan in place. In the yellow zone, we allow more powerful connectors, but we also increase the monitoring. We track license efficiency and performance. Finally, there is the red zone. This is the space for mission-critical business logic. If an app is handling financial transactions or sensitive customer data, it lives here. This zone is managed with full application lifecycle management. It has dev, test, and production environments. It requires professional oversight and rigorous testing. The red zone is where the architect part of the title becomes literal. By segmenting your logic this way, you allow the organization to breathe without losing control. The secret weapon in this strategy is automated enforcement. We are past the era of manual checklists. In 2026, we use real-time DLP and runtime policy checks. These are silent sentinels that sit inside the execution layer. If a user tries to connect a restricted SQL database to an unauthorized social media connector, the system kills the flow before a single byte of data is exfiltrated. It doesn't wait for an audit next month, it acts in milliseconds. This gives your architects the confidence to open the gates. They know that the system itself is enforcing the boundaries. This zoned approach turns governance from a bottleneck into a competitive advantage. It allows you to scale innovation at the speed of thought while maintaining the security posture of a fortress. Once you have this structural safety net, the game changes. You can move beyond human-led logic into the world of autonomous agents. Agentic AI and the post-application era. We are currently standing at the threshold of the post-application era. For the last 30 years, our interaction with business logic has been mediated by the point-and-click interface. You open an app, you find a button, and you tell the system what to do. But that model is dying. We are moving toward a world of autonomous business agents that don't wait for your click. They reason over your data, they understand your intent, and they execute multi-step workflows across your entire enterprise stack without a human holding their hand at every turn. This isn't just a smarter version of a chatbot. This is a fundamental change in how software is architected. In the old world, you built a rigid path. Step A leads to step B. If the data changed, the path broke. In the agentic world, we are integrating Copilot Studio directly into the LCAP framework. Instead of following a hard-coded script, these agents reason over schemas. They look at the live state of your inventory, your customer history, and your current logistics capacity. They don't just follow steps, they solve problems. If a shipment is delayed, the agent doesn't just throw an error code. It identifies the impacted customers, drafts personalized apologies, and triggers a reorder from an alternative warehouse. By 2028, Gartner predicts that 4 out of 5 businesses will have implemented these autonomous agents. This isn't just about efficiency, it's about a new layer of organizational intelligence. However, this level of autonomy introduces a risk that traditional architects aren't prepared for: behavioral drift. Because these agents are probabilistic rather than deterministic, they can adapt in ways you didn't anticipate. They might find a shortcut to hit a performance goal that accidentally violates a minor internal policy. This is where the role of the citizen architect becomes truly critical. You are no longer just a builder of forms. You are a curator of behavior. You have to move from managing code to managing outcomes. The most vital skill in the 2027 job market won't be writing Python. It will be prompt engineering and outcome validation. You are the one who defines the commander's intent. You tell the agent the what and the why, and you build the monitoring systems to ensure the how stays within the guardrails we discussed in the zone strategy. We are seeing a shift where successful agentic implementations employ multiple specialized agents working in a synergistic loop. You might have one agent focused entirely on data extraction, another on risk assessment, and a third on customer communication. They talk to each other, they negotiate, and as an architect, your job is to oversee that negotiation. You are the human in the loop. You aren't doing the work. You are auditing the reasoning. This is why your data architecture is now more important than your UI design. Agents can't reason over messy, siloed, or dirty data. If your corporate nervous system is full of static, your agents will hallucinate. They will make bad decisions at machine speed. To prepare for this, you have to stop thinking about apps and start thinking about knowledge fragments. You need to expose your business logic as a set of clean, accessible APIs that an agent can understand. This is the ultimate evolution of the low-code philosophy. We spent years democratizing the creation of the interface. Now we are democratizing the creation of the intelligence itself. The barrier to entry for building a sophisticated autonomous business system has never been lower. But the requirement for high-level structural thinking has never been higher. You are moving from being a pilot to being an air traffic controller. You aren't flying the plane, you are ensuring that 100 planes land safely at the same time. This is the structural shift that defines the modern enterprise, retiring the debt and scaling the future. The massive weight of legacy infrastructure is the silent killer of enterprise agility. We are talking about the ghosts of VB6 and ancient mainframe logic that still haunt the basements of major corporations. These systems aren't just old, they are expensive anchors. They require niche contractors who charge a premium because they are the only ones left who speak the language. This is where the financial model of the citizen architect becomes truly undeniable. We are seeing a fundamental shift toward retiring this debt by rewriting it into modern low-code frameworks. The return on investment here is staggering. When you move away from these brittle, hard-coded relics, you aren't just updating a screen. You are liberating your business logic. Data from OutSystems shows that organizations can achieve a 506% ROI over 3 years just by modernizing these legacy stacks. It's not a theoretical gain, it's the result of cutting maintenance overhead and eliminating the downtime risks associated with unsupported code. You are replacing a black box that nobody understands with a transparent, visual model that your business units can actually improve. If you are staring at a mountain of technical debt, you need a 90-day roadmap to stop the bleeding. The first 30 days are about discovery. You audit the backlog and find the logic-heavy processes that are actually holding you back. You don't try to move everything at once. You pick the high-value, high-friction targets. By day 60, you establish your technical readiness, your APIs, your security layers, and your initial multi-agent orchestration. By day 90, you are launching your first pilot. Imagine a company where the logic evolves as fast as the market. In this future, you don't wait for a quarterly release to fix a broken customer experience. The people closest to the problem, the ones who see the friction every single day, are the ones empowered to adjust the gears. You are building an organization that learns and adapts in real time. This is how you outscale the competition. You stop being a collection of static applications and start being a living, breathing digital organism. The key transformation is this: you are no longer building apps. You are designing the adaptive infrastructure of your entire business. This is about reclaiming the logic that has been trapped in silos for decades. Your challenge for this week is simple. Audit your current IT backlog. Identify 3 processes that are currently stuck in the hard coding trap. Move them into a Fusion team pilot this month. See how fast your business can actually move when the guardrails are right. If this shift changed how you think about development, connect with me, Mirko Peters, on LinkedIn. Follow the M365 FM podcast for more deep dives into the corporate nervous system. Reclaim your logic. Start building.